Welcome back to In Case You Missed It Wrestling. I am your host, Blackhawk, and we are here for Friday Night Smackdown. Pretty decent episode, I gotta say. It's a pretty good episode. The pacing on this one was a lot better. I know I've been complaining a lot about the pacing on the Smackdown episodes, and this one was a lot better. This one was far better than it has been. And I enjoyed it a lot more. I gotta be honest. I really enjoyed this a lot more than I have SmackDown in the last couple weeks. Pretty good episode. Pretty decent matches. We'll get into those in just a second. Definitely carried by the last hour. I will say that it was 100% carried by the last hour. But still a pretty decent episode. There's a lot going on. So let's get into it. Cody Rhodes would kick off the show as Jay has officially challenged Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. Now all eyes are on Cody for the Elimination Chamber to see who he will face at WrestleMania. He would run down the list of possible challengers who have qualified for the Elimination Chamber, but he says he knows who it's not going to be, which is Solo Sikoa. Solo hasn't qualified for the chamber, nor will he qualify because he is not involved in any of the qualification matches. He also says that the Samoan spike that he took last week wasn't for him. So that's rifts in the bloodline. Once again, I really don't know where we're headed with this, but I am a little more excited about this bloodline story now that Solo's kind of back and they're kind of on odds right now. I know Solo said that when he lost the Ulufala to Roman, he was going to follow Roman's lead. And I don't know if he's still following Roman's lead or not. They haven't really mentioned any of that at all, which is a little odd, but I don't know what's going on right now. Which is fine. I think it's fine in wrestling that you don't know what's going on. I think I prefer not being able to predict what's going to happen, what the story is. And with this new sort of bloodline story that's going on, I can't predict where we're going other than possibly seeing Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa for WrestleMania, which I would not hate. I wouldn't hate that at all. I don't know where this leads, but we'll talk about that a little bit later as they did have an interaction at the end of the show. Drew McIntyre would come out and say that Cody didn't give him the respect he deserved when he was shouting out the participants in the Elimination Chamber earlier. He says that a few weeks ago, he put himself out there when he gave Cody a hug in the middle of the ring, and Cody tried to fight him. He says Cody made it personal, so now he's going to have to remind Cody exactly who he is. Cody would say that he can count on one hand the men that have defeated him since returning, and Drew is one of them, so he has not forgotten. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga would also make their entrance. Jacob says that later on tonight he is going to dog walk Damian Priest and Braun Strowman and earn his way into the chamber. Then he will run through the chamber, run through Cody at WrestleMania, and take back the title that should have never left his family. Drew would tease a match with Jacob Fatu before leaving the ring. And on the Titantron, as he was making his way out, they would show Solo Sikoa pulling up to the arena. Cody would make an attempt to leave the ring, but Jacob Fatu would stop him, saying that he speaks to Solo first on some family business. Cody would tell him that he may get the first word, but I surely got the last. Interesting. I don't really love Cody Rhodes with the bloodline again. I thought we had moved past this. I kind of hoped we were done with it. I assumed we would get a Roman match, right? Like that's a given. That's a huge match that I think a lot of people want to see again. So I'm not complaining about that as much. I'm more complaining about him feuding with Solo. Like we've seen this has been played out. We're all done with it. I just don't understand why they keep coming back to this, other than maybe it's a ploy for the Bloodline 2.0 to sort of split, which I would be okay with that. I think Jacob and Tama Tonga and potentially Tonga Loa whenever he returns would be better by themselves outside of Solo Sikoa. We would then go backstage after a commercial break and see Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu looking for Solo Sikoa and attacking a PA because he didn't know where Solo was. Wade Barrett would interview Trish Stratus as she was sitting ringside, asking her thoughts on the chamber that is in her hometown. She would say she is excited for the chamber, but will not be participating, saying that her only decision is if she wants a seat or a suite, which is kind of a bar. Not gonna lie, that's a good line. We would move into Chelsea Green versus Naomi for an elimination chamber spot. This is a great opening match. I gotta be honest with you. This was a pretty decent opening match. It really kind of set somewhat of the tone for the night, even though the tone would shift as we get later into the show to a little bit more chaotic. But Chelsea Green is, I feel like, one of the most underrated women's wrestlers on the WWE roster. I know she is a champion right now. I get it. She is a United States champion, right? So maybe not underrated, but in big moments, she always pulls through. She always does exactly what she needs to do, plus some. She is incredible, great talent. Naomi is the same way. I think of Naomi in the exact same way, is maybe not as underrated as Chelsea Green, right? Naomi's had her big moments. She's had the women's championships. She has had singles, victories and championships that Chelsea Green has not had. Naomi even took sort of that Drew McIntyre route where she left the WWE, was extremely successful on TNA, and is credited for how TNA's women division is doing now, which is extremely well. It's not as good as NXT, I will say, because it arguably is one of the best women's locker rooms in the world right now, with just the pure athletic talent that they have and the pure potential that they have. But Naomi is an incredible talent. They work extremely well together. They work great together. Naomi would end up picking the win because, it's Chelsea Green. As good as she is, a majority of the time that she is out there, she's going to lose, which is unfortunate. But Naomi would pick up the win. I'm going to give this one a 78 out of 100, which is a 3.9. It's right outside the cusp of a 4. Really, really good opener, really great match, really set the tone for the entire night. We would then get an update on Sami Zayn from his social media, saying that his neck is not doing well, but when he is cleared, he is coming for Kevin Owens, and I am stoked. I am so excited for that. If you haven't watched any Kevin Steen versus El Generico matches, I permit you to stop this video right now and go watch one and then come back to me, because they know each other inside and out, and it shows in every move that they do in the ring. They know each other so well that they could not have a bad match. Like, we looked at Jimmy and Jay at WrestleMania and be like, this can't possibly be bad. They know each other so well. Like, this is going to be so good, and it was garbage. If this is bad, it's somebody else's fault. Like, it can't be their fault, because the matches that they've had in the past have been incredible. We'd also see that Michelle McCool will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, which is much deserved. We would then move into Motor City Machine Gun versus Los Garza, and I believe this will be a big year for Los Garza. I think I've said it a couple of times now, but truly, truly, truly believe that Los Garza is on for a great year. I think Legado del Fantasma is also on for a good year, with some of the signings plus who they've already signed for the year. I think we could see a big push for luchador style wrestling within the WWE, and Legado is very good at that. Now, they did lose Elektra Lopez just with the recent WWE releases, nothing like storyline wise, but I think the whole faction could have a big year. And I thought that Elektra Lopez would be able to be included on that, but I guess not. I don't know. If you didn't watch the video on the releases I was extremely shocked by Electra Lopez leaving, not even leaving, being released, because she was a great manager. Like, she was on TV the day before the releases, or really even the night of, right? Those came out Friday night. She was on TV that night and then got released, which is crazy, crazy. But I don't know. Moving back to the match, right? Motor City Machine Guns, awesome as usual. SmackDown Tag Team Division is stacked. Where one of the most exciting parts of the SmackDown show is watching the tag team action, because the rest of the stuff is kind of mid. I'm gonna be honest with you. The rest of the divisions are kind of mid. The only really exciting one is the tag division. This was a good classic just grudge match. Like, nothing really on the line for either of them other than, hey, we have a problem with you. You have a problem with us. Let's figure it out. Motor City Machine Guns would pick up the win, giving this one an 81 out of 100, which is a 4-star match. This was good. This was good. It was good. I like the SmackDown Tag Team Division. The potential is wild for them, and we've come so far from where we were last year. We have come incredibly far from where we were last year with the tag team titles and just the tag team division in general. We then see an impressive Damian Priest video package. If you've watched for a while, you know my thoughts on Damian Priest. I go in and out on liking him a lot. This video package really kind of brought me back into liking him. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a little fired up for Damian Priest right now. I don't know what it is, but a good promo and a good video package is supposed to make you either like somebody or hate somebody, right? Like, a good one elicits a reaction. And this is the first time that he has truly elicited a reaction from me from any sort of promo material. And I am starting to drift into that liking Damian Priest side of the wrestling world, which I think is good. I don't want to not like a wrestler, right? They're out there putting their bodies on the line for our entertainment. I don't want to say that I don't like them, right? I want to be able to like them. Either that or, like, hate them, hate their character, right? Hate them because of who they are portraying on TV, but as far as noticing how well they work in the ring and all that and liking that aspect of it. I might hate the character, but I like the work they do, right? And so I'm finally think I'm getting around that hump of not really appreciating Damian Priest. So I'm kind of excited about that. I am looking forward to seeing, where that journey will take me personally and where Damian Priest's journey takes him as we get closer to Mania. We would move backstage with Jacob Fatu and Tamatanga, where they would find Solo Sikoa in a locker room. Solo says that he needed time off after losing the Ulafala, but he is good now. Says it's time to get back to the top, and it starts with Jacob winning the qualifying match and winning the chamber to bring the belt back to the family. Solo would tell Jacob that he loves him, and Jacob would not respond. Jacob didn't say a single thing in this entire promo. And this is an interesting point that I thought of while I was watching this. They're going a completely different route than they did with Roman, right? Solo came back. Roman took a lot of time off. We're going to ignore that part of this. But Solo came back, and instead of trying to take the title for himself, he says it's better for a member of the family to hold it. And if that member is going to be Jacob, then he's going to help Jacob, right? That's a big thing. Roman could never do that. Roman has to be the one to win the title, right? We haven't seen him help at all with Jey Uso. Nothing. Absolute zero help with anything that he's got going on. And he's challenged for the World Heavyweight Championship before. No help from Roman. He's going into WrestleMania. I doubt we'll get help from Roman. But Solo is willing to help Jacob bring the title belt back, right? That's a big thing that I don't think people are paying attention to, even with what happens later, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But that's crazy. We would then get a Shinsuke Nakamura promo. Says that for weeks he's watched from the shadows, waiting for a worthy challenger. But there are no warriors here, just the same weak guys. And I've seen a lot of discourse online talking about how his title reign has been kind of bad compared to LA Knight. It's true, it hasn't been great. But I think Shinsuke Nakamura has the ability to make this title incredible and the feud's incredible. I think we've just been dealing with a lot more stuff on TV than the United States Championship, right? I think if they ran the shows like they did in the Attitude Era, Shinsuke Nakamura would be one of the best United States champion holders in the last couple of years, right? Because during the Attitude Era, you were guaranteed like 6 or 7 matches. You know, you would get a US championship match on every other show or something like that. We would see it a lot. We don't see title defenses as much as we used to. Not nearly as much. And so I think with the current way everything is working, I think he's doing fine. But I see a lot of people saying the opposite. I think if they can get him on TV working regularly, people will have a different opinion. But that's a conversation for another day. LA Knight would come out during this promo and say that he is a worthy challenger and he could have beat Shinsuke in their match if the bloodline hadn't interfered. The Miz would interrupt LA Knight and call LA Knight and everyone in the arena basic because he sees what Shinsuke sees, that no one is worthy other than The Miz. LA Knight would tell The Miz he hasn't been relevant for 10 years and he should take a page out of John Cena's book and start his retirement tour and go away. The Miz says he's been at the top of this industry and he repeats himself over and over and over again because guys like LA Knight can't measure up. And if John Cena can call his shot, then he is calling his shot and declaring he wants the United States Championship. LA Knight says that he made that title shine, but The Miz sucks and just isn't championship material. The Miz would attack LA Knight and Nick Aldis would come out to make this an official match. This match was better than I expected. I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't really enjoyed The Miz outside of the Awesome Truth for a while. You know, he's been kind of mid Miz, like not great. Kind of annoying, if we're gonna be honest. He's like 45 years old and still cries like a 12-year-old. You know, it's just shit's getting old, man. Like, I don't know if he's a heel or a face anymore, and I think he's a heel, but like he's not doing a good heel. And people are saying he's like a great heel. I don't see it really. I really just don't see it. You know, I think The Miz was good for a long time, but I think now he just kind of is there, right? He's not doing anything. He had that feud with Cross, which was kind of fun, and the Wyatt Six, which Wyatt Six are awesome. Miz was a weird choice, you know? I don't know. I'm not sold on Miz in the big 2-5, right? We'll see. We got a long year. Miz could turn things around, and I don't think he's ever becoming a top champion again. That's for sure. I think his time for that is up. But a US title run, maybe. Intercontinental Championship, maybe. You know, the last time I really believed in Miz when he was challenging Gunther, I really was backing him on that one. He proved every time he went out there that he still had it. And now I'm just maybe that was a fluke. But LA Knight deserves way more than what he's getting right now. He deserves to be in the top championship discussions, right? He's stuck kind of on this US title because there's a lot going on with both championships. And I think once we clear some of that out, we'll see LA Knight start to creep back into the top of the roster. WWE's kind of booked themselves into a corner with this. Like, they have talent like LA Knight and people that definitely deserve a spot. They definitely deserve a spot at the top that can't get one because of the storyline they're running right, or the long-term booking that they have, you know, figured out. They've got this planned, which is unfortunate. It is unfortunate. I can't lie about that. I would love to see LA Knight as, you know, WWE champion or world heavyweight champion. but I don't think it's in the cards right now. And it sucks, but it is what it is. LA Knight would pick up this win, and we would get a moment with Shinsuke Nakamura after the match, with him and LA Knight getting face to face, like forehead to forehead. Pretty intense, pretty cool. Liked it a lot. I'm giving this one a 77 out of 100, which is a 3.85. Pretty decent match, right? I said Smackdown was pretty decent. It is what it is. Just an average episode almost, up until the last hour. Backstage with Nia Jax and Candice LeRae, Alexa Bliss would walk in and say she is rooting for Nia against Tiffany because she wants to have a WrestleMania rematch and when she wins the Elimination Chamber. I wouldn't be mad at that, but we'll have to see how Nia Jax fares. The Miz and Andrade would be seen backstage. Andrade watched the match and tells The Miz that he can teach him a few things. Carmelo Hayes walks up and says that people will stop disrespecting people like them, talking about The Miz and Melo, but then denies teaming up with The Miz for Melo Don't Miz, which I think is a hilarious tag team name. We would go into R-Truth versus Carmelo Hayes, and this match was created after a hilarious social media post where it was basically one of those who's on first kind of jokes. It played out really, really well with R-Truth and Carmelo Hayes talking about his match with Tozawa last week. Melo would pick up the win, and it is a pretty quality win over a vet, right? This is a good win over somebody who is well established in the locker room and somebody that fans love. So this is a good win for him. This isn't some kind of win like Tozawa was last week. This is a good win for him. R-Truth is awesome, right? I love R-Truth. I just wish he was a little more serious. If you watch his old TNA days, he was a killer. He was stone cold. I liked R-Truth back then. And even when the Awesome Truth first, started in the WWE, their first run, awesome. R-Truth was so good. But I think he has even said that he has kind of even booked himself into a corner because he does this comedy shit so well that that's all people want to see. And I think it's a little sad, but as a man of his age at this point, I do understand, maybe keeping him in the comedy shtick. I think he can still go, right? I have no doubt in my mind he can still go. But at this age, I don't think he could be that, 20-minute singles match kind of guy that people are looking for in the top champions now, in the top singles champions at least. I think you might be able to fit him in another tag team and maybe give him another tag team titles run, but I just don't see a singles run out of him anytime soon, which is kind of sad. Short match comparative to everything else on the show. Super short, 5 minutes maybe. Giving it a 70 out of 100, which is a 3.5. Average match, really short. Melo looked good. R-Truth looked good. Pretty decent. It felt like a filler match, get us to the next commercial break, but still decent, still entertaining. The Street Profits would have a video package saying that once Dawkins is cleared, they're coming for all the teams on SmackDown, which rightfully so. This new heel version of the Street Profits could be incredible on a already incredible tag team roster. We then move backstage with Pretty Deadly asking about their title match next week, and they say that they are done being underestimated. DIY would interject and say they are disappointed because they thought they had something special. Pretty Deadly caught them with their pants down last week, and next week, their dreams of being the next tag team champions are dead. I am looking forward to that. That's going to be a great match. Just great match. And with everything else going on in the same division, I assume this is going to be crazy. Something is going to happen. Something crazy is going to happen. I don't know what yet. Something crazy will happen next week. We would then get a Kevin Owens car promo saying that Sami Zayn's pain is nothing compared to Kevin's after his 3 best friends stabbed him in the back. He would then challenge Sami Zayn to a match at Elimination Chamber. And this is where things really start to pick up for this episode of SmackDown, is when we get to Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax. They played a video package about this feud like they would at a PLE, which I think was really cool to see on a weekly television show. We see they're really building this up for a big moment, and we would get a big moment out of this. Charlotte Flair would be watching from the back. Tiffany Stratton looks great. Nia Jax looks great. This is what we have come to expect out of both of them. I have come to expect a good match at a Nia Jax. If you would have asked me that 5 years ago, I would have told you I'm expecting a dog water match, right? She has come a long way, and I'm very happy for her. I think she's been very successful since coming back, and I'm very proud of her for that. Candice LeRae would interfere and cost Nia Jax the match, but Nia is not mad about that, and I think they had that kind of planned. I'm not going to lie. I think that might have been planned. Trish Stratus would come to Tiffany Stratton's aid, and Nia would take her out to continue attacking Tiffany until the guys from the back would pull them apart. As people were walking away, Charlotte Flair would make her entrance and challenge Tiffany Stratton for WrestleMania. Huge moment. Huge moment. Both Royal Rumble winners this week challenged their opponents for WrestleMania. We have no question about who the winner of the Chamber will face at WrestleMania now. So this is big moment, big moment. We would move backstage with Nick Aldis and Bianca Belair and Naomi. They have a development in the Jade Cargill situation and shows cell phone footage that has Liv and Raquel walking away from the area where she was pushed. Doesn't prove much of anything, if you ask me. I am a long-time Liv Morgan, not hater, but not liker. And it just doesn't prove anything to me, They've run this angle many times, and it's never been the people that are the most obvious. Right now, it's obvious that it's Liv and Raquel, right? We'll have to wait until Jade comes back, right? Like, even when they ran this angle with, The Rock and Rikishi and Stone Cold Steve Austin, we didn't know who did it until Stone Cold came back. I assume we're going to get the exact same thing here, so we won't know until Jade comes back. And I think Jade's just going to come back and start swinging on whoever it was. So I'm kind of excited to see that. I'm kind of hype about that. I do feel like Jade Cargill is on her way back. It's big, big, big moment. Byron Saxton would be with Tiffany Stratton backstage. She says it's hard to focus on Mania after what happened with Nia and Candice. Trish Stratus would walk up and ask if Tiffany Stratton wants to join her at Elimination Chamber against Nia and Candice. Tiffy agrees, saying it's Trishy and Tiffy time, which is super fun. Super, super, super fun. Would then see Jimmy Uso and Drew McIntyre. And Drew would just spend about 5 minutes trying to get under Jimmy's skin and succeed, but inevitably get super kicked by Jimmy into some of the boxes that they have backstage. Fair. And then Braun Strowman would cut an absolute fiery promo on the way down to the ring. That boy had me ready to run through a brick wall. I was watching that, just getting goosebumps. I was, let's go, baby. Right before the match. He did a killer job of that. Shout out to him. He killed that. We would then move into Jacob Fatu versus Braun Strowman versus Damian Priest for the final match of the night. And this was an incredible way to finish SmackDown. It might be the perfect way to finish this episode, right? This was such a good finish. You've got Jacob Fatu, who's a future multi-time champion across the board, whatever belt he wants, right? Braun Strowman, a former champion who wants to get back into that conversation. Damian Priest, another former champion who now has broken off by himself and wants to have an incredible solo run. This match is full of people that have drive to be champion. And I mentioned this in a video a couple weeks ago, how I don't believe that the WWE has any gold chasers anymore. And we're finally starting to see some gold chasers come out, especially around Mania season, because it's a big event. It's a big, big, big thing. So I'm glad we're finally getting that. It brings intensity to the matches. It brings intensity to the promos. It's a good thing to have gold chasers. And we got 3 of them in a triple threat match to go to the Elimination Chamber, where we're gonna see other gold chasers. Sign me up. Great. Great, great, great. Like I said earlier, Damian Priest haven't been super high on lately, but this whole night kind of shifted that around for me. I wouldn't say I'm a super fan or anything, but I am enjoying Damian Priest now more than I was previously, right? Braun Strowman looked really good, especially considering the injuries that he's had, not even just recently, but in his whole career. His knees are just, they're begging for him to stop. But they put out good work. He's working well. He's looking good. I don't know how much longer he has on his career, if I'm going to be honest with you. I think the Big Show might have gone a little too long, and I don't want to see the same thing out of Braun Strowman. I think Braun could have a couple more years left. Maybe he should start looking into that stem cell therapy that Rey Mysterio is using. I don't know, but his knees they are just not great. And you can even see it in the way he walks, which is sad because I love Braun Strowman. I always love Braun Strowman. Super high on Braun Strowman. But there comes a point in time where kind of got to hang the boots up because the body can't do it. I don't know if that's a conversation he's had yet, but just in the way he walks, it kind of makes me a little sad. I'm going to be honest with you, because it does feel like an end of the era. Like, I remember when Big Show started walking like that, and I was like, yeah, Big Show doesn't have much left. And I mean, Big Show went on for like another 10 years, so I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do, but it is what it is. It's really up to him, for all being honest. And I wish him the best. I really do. The last 5 minutes of this match were crazy, right? It's what we'd expect from a bloodline involved match, even though it's not a bloodline rules. You can expect a match without really any rules, as a triple threat has, with a bloodline member, to be chaotic. So let's do a quick rundown of the last 5 minutes of this match. Solo would come out and spike Braun. Cody would come out and try to fight Solo. Tamatanga would come out and take down Cody and hold him for Solo to spike. Cody would dodge the spike, causing Solo to hit Tama. Solo and Jacob would then have a stare down where it looks like Jacob's about to fight Solo. Priest would push Jacob into Solo and then throw Jacob over the barricade. Cody would hit the crossroads on Solo on the side of the ring, and Damian Priest would hit the Salve of Heaven on Braun Strowman to win and secure his spot for the Elimination Chamber. Crazy, right? Like a lot, just boom, 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 boom. Last 5 minutes just kind of rolling. I loved it, though. I think it's awesome. Great, great match. I did end up giving this an 89 out of 100, which are 4.45 stars. Great. I really enjoyed it. I had a very fun time with the end of this match. It was a great way to cap off the night. Recently, WWE kind of failed to capitalize on the end of the show, and they hit the nail on the head this time. This was a good episode. It's a decent episode. The last 2 matches did do a lot of the heavy lifting, but still decent, right? It was good. Would I watch it again? Maybe the last hour. Probably not the rest of it. But, decent episode. Looking forward to next week. We inch closer and closer to the chamber, which means we also inch closer and closer to WrestleMania, which is so exciting. I expect the next couple of weeks of WWE television, including NXT, to just be chaotic, because NXT has Roadblock coming up in the Madison Square Garden Theater, which AEW ran a show out of a couple weeks ago. It looked awesome. It looks so cool. And I'm really looking forward to that. And then we have, Stand and Deliver for them. We're getting into the biggest point of the year for WWE, and I expect it to be chaotic. And then I expect it to be chaotic until Backlash, right? We're in for a good couple months. We could be in for some of the best couple months that WWE has produced in the recent time, right? I'm very excited, very happy, very excited, and I cannot wait to start this new week of wrestling. But for this week, that will be it. we will have a Vengeance Day episode coming out tomorrow. So check YouTube, you could you could subscribe, and you can hit that bell, and you'd know as soon as it comes out. But for this episode, that'll be it. We ran a little long, a lot longer than I usually do, which if you guys are fine with me running this long, I'll do them this long. I enjoy talking about this stuff. And I think ever since I've tried to stop going line by line and give my actual thoughts on these, the episodes are running smoother and I'm enjoying my time more. So I think we're going to keep doing this, like whatever we're doing here, until the cows come home, I guess. But that's it for In Case You Missed It Wrestling. I am your host, Blackhawk, and I will see you tomorrow for Vengeance Day.